welcome to this very special Halloween-themed episode of the Construction Collective Show. Over the course of this show, we will bring you evil excavators, devilish dumpers, wicked wheel loaders, and things that go bump in the day. Given the spooky nature of what you're about to see, I'm going to need a co-host, and I can see Petrifying Peter Haddock lurking in the green room as we speak. So, while I'm getting him on the show, let's roll our intro.
Good evening, Peter.
Good evening, Mark. How are we doing today? Spooky out there, isn't it?
It really is. I'm sorry about the bat. I think somebody just opened my wallet. I'll get that sorted out. It's great to be back, and I think our timing, I think you'll agree, our timing has been absolutely perfect. Even setting aside all things Halloween, this is a really exciting time in the field of construction and demolition equipment. It seems there's really a day goes by without a new machine dropping. And we've lots of activity in the field of fuels, technology, training, everything else, and all of that is represented here tonight.
Mark, you know what? I don't think I have been so inundated with excitement that we have got that's come out of the industry right now. Not forgetting the thing that's really, really, really important, not the budget we've just had. There's something down the road, starts on Sunday, COP26, world leaders in Glasgow, just down the road from one of our lovely UK manufacturers, Rockback, that we feature in the show tonight. And we're going to have some big, big news on climate change, and things are going to happen very, very quickly indeed. And it's such an exciting time for the industry. We're all building back better, and God, boy, oh boy, there's some cool innovations that we've been sharing on our social media, and we've been, highly involved with as well, which is great to see. And to share those tonight is very spooky, but super exciting.
Right, before we get the show on the road, the good folks at Block have offered to give away a pair of their ballistic tested safety glasses. I'll show you what they look like. They look a lot like that. To be in with a chance of winning a pair, just type the word Block, that's B-L-O-C, into the chat, and we will draw a winner later in the show. Now, I should be able to... There you go. That's how you spell it, B-L-O-C. Type that in the chat, and we'll be drawing a winner for that later in the show.
Mark, but I've got a pair of those glasses, and they are awesome. They've got various different lenses, and to be honest with you, I was shocked that you showed us that one, because really I know you're wearing the pink lenses on your ones. They come with lots of different colors, so very surprised that you replaced them with the other ones there, Mark. Just a bit of kudos, obviously, for yourself on the show tonight. Block Eyewear, super clever the way they designed it, and obviously keeping us all safe.
No, absolutely. And in absolute truth, if I'm being completely honest, I did take out the pink lenses just before I came on here because they look better on camera, nothing more than that.
I know that. I know you too well, Mark. That's brilliant.
Right, okay, well, we've got a few entries coming in. Good to see you there, Gary. Thank you for doing that. Ken Hatcher, he's entered as well, so good to see those are coming through. While all of those are coming through, we're going to be starting with talking about technology, which is obviously your specialist field, Peter. You've been to see the team at Urban Regen. What was that all about?
Well, you know what, Mark? It was a really insightful visit. I spent 2 visits, actually, to Urban Regen. They're in Greater Manchester, Salford, and basically they're a business that's really, really investing. They're investing in a number of different ways, really. They're investing in the best possible equipment. They've got a lot of Volvo excavators that are coming in, the 300, and I saw the first 350 in the UK and probably in the world with the full demo spec. The first day I spent, Mark, was watching somebody install retrofit the Leica Geosystems base kit, which goes inside the cab so that you can take the screen in and out. And they're literally fitting all of their excavators with Leica Geosystems machine control as a base kit. So if you don't need the machine control because you're demolishing stuff, then actually you take all that stuff out and you maybe take that in a box to another site and put it in another machine. But then I went to something really exciting, which was basically they're taking down the UK's first ever Greyhound track. And boy, oh boy, does that have a lot of concrete in it and all sorts of things to discover. So not only did they demolish it, they're ripping it all apart and ripping it up. It's going to be housing, but also they're using the grade control, the machine control from Leica to actually create all the plots. And because it's made ground, Mark, there's lots going on. And because it's made ground, therefore, they've got to actually put some piling in, and they're using 3D models to measure it all out and to make it exactly right. The piling rigs are coming in with machine control, and bish, bash, bosh, you've gone from old Greyhound to brand new houses where all the plots are done and everything's done. Dig it once, dig it well. And that's the story, mate.
Dead right. And I'm going to play the video in a second, but we finally found somebody that matches your level of enthusiasm. So let's roll the film.
Peter Haddock, and I'm here with Chris Woodhouse, M&P Surveys, on a site with Urban Regeneration. Chris, we're on site here with a long-term customer of yours, M&P has worked with for a long time. It's Urban Regen. Tell me about the journey.
It's been a massive journey, and it's been a long journey, and it was all started from a simple inquiry for replacement of a rover, a GPS rover system. First machine we installed, I think it was on Dave Cross's machine 6 years ago, and I got phone calls off Dave within about a couple of weeks. There's a bit of hesitancy about having fitted, but once we fitted, oh, this is great. So I can check a level for this, I can check a level for that. And Dave, the engineer, was saying to me, he said, I'm spending more time doing what I should be doing, the modelling side of it, and managing the site as well, because he's managing as well, than being in a danger zone in front of a machine, checking the level, giving them a position, because the machine driver almost becomes that semi-engineer on site working with the machine, all connected with the data and the workflow. It just gives them a complete package. So that one model can go from the excavator, so that even if they've got dozers as well, they can use them in the dozer, and the model can go from flip to flip to machine. And with the Connex, it can be updated and changed to every machine on site. If Coincide change the model or change everything, a quick couple of minutes on the DXF for Dave, and he sends it to every machine, so everyone's working in real time on the correct model at all times. With it being Leica ready, we can put a base kit on the system, so every machine that Urban use now has what we call a plug and play system, so it doesn't matter where the machine is. To smooth the system from one machine to another, it's a case of a small suitcase and taking the major components off, the antennas, the power box and the screen, and that can go straight onto another machine. There was some hesitance for some operators because they think they're going to get another job, but once they realise they are more of an integral part, because once they can drive that machine, if that machine's working and they can drive it and they understand it, they're working. And while that machine is turned on, it's working.
Yeah.
It's not sat there waiting for an engineer to put a level in or to change, to give them a direction or put a profile in. If that's turned on, it's working.
That guy is like the perfect interview. I think there was one question there, wasn't there?
I know, it's fantastic. You know what? It's somebody there that really does know how to work with the customers, because you know, Chris has had to learn all of this stuff as well as he goes along with machine control, because obviously M&P Surveys started with the surveying stuff, but then he's grabbed it. And what's happened is the flow of machines and stuff that are getting kitted out with the machine control is such a fast pace nowadays, Mark. You've really got to work with somebody that is super enthusiastic, gets it done, and works sort of in partnership as a dealer with the Leica team. And you know what? It's a tremendous way that a demolition company can expand out its business without necessarily expanding out its footprint of where they are, because you expand your business out by demolishing and doing all the other stuff so that the kit is on there for longer. It's far more sustainable. It's far more impactful. You've got the operators that are skilled operators that are in a cab of beautiful machines. I mean, the operators I've got in the longer video edits of that visit, they just say it's like sitting in my car. and they love it. And the thing about it is they're bringing on younger people as well. So you can do end to end. You know, you're the first on the site as a demolition remediation company. Well, you can make more out of what you're doing. Therefore, you can make more money. Therefore, you can invest for the future. It really, really is what people in the demolition sector in particular need to take a look at. Because, you know, why would you let another contractor come onto that site and do all of that work when you can actually turn, and I call them hybridizing your demolition spec excavator, really, Mark? Why would you go any other way?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting you picked up on the word partnership. We're going to come back to that in a second, because lurking in the background of that film, as we all saw, was a Volvo excavator. And Volvo have been extremely busy of late. The company has expanded its range of electric machines. It also became the first to show off a fossil-free steel machine as well, which we'll be showing you a bit later in the show. But just yesterday, the company unveiled the details of an incredible new machine that it developed in partnership with, of all people, Lego Technic. Let's take a look.
It's an amazing feeling. We dreamt of this from the start, and I think it shows that partnership is the new leadership. We started out with Lego bricks. We did a great team effort, and now I think we're all really proud to present and see the SPOOKs in real life. It's a dream come true.
The biggest advantage with this compared to conventional machine is that we have a hinge here, and that's the element for the scissor frame, as we call it. So we have a lower frame with a drivetrain, axles, transmission and such, an electric motor to propel it. And we have an upper frame which houses the batteries and the hydraulic system and such. And also the loading unit is attached on upper frame.
Yeah, we had a really good cooperation with our colleagues in Eskilstuna, where the body parts were built, where the hydraulic was integrated, where the wire harness was integrated. And then the machine comes over here to Cons, and yeah, we started the software development and we made the adaptations to connect it to our remote operation system.
The LXO3 is a wheel loader concept designed for construction site tasks. It can have a bucket or a pallet fork in front, and it's usable for various tasks. We selected this size because here we have the commonality with components from the electric L25 that we recently launched.
I mean, most enjoyable is going from scratch to a machine standing there and then start to be operational. I mean, it's always great following up on an idea and see that it works.
Now we have the prototype built. Next phase is to test and tune the prototype and see how efficient and such it will be. But the biggest question that we have still ahead of us is really how to collaborate with this machine at the construction site. And here we would like to have collaboration with our potential customers.
Of course, the first time when the machine was moving and doing the scissor movement, lifting the tail up, that was a great moment and really fun to see.
It has been a fantastic journey from the very beginning in this project, with the collaboration with Lego Group and also with the prototype build. And now we have an interesting phase ahead of us with commissioning and testing and tuning of the machine.
We've shown that even in very difficult times, we can reach those ambitious targets if we play together. The cross-functional work among many sites and among many people has made it possible to achieve those goals. And I'm very proud to be head of this department.
One thing I really enjoyed was that we could get Lego Technic designers and kids to help us to think outside of the box in our fairly traditional construction industry. And I think that is what helps us push the boundaries in our industry.
It's an absolutely astonishing machine, but one of the real standout bits for me was that quote, "Partnership is the new leadership." If you think about it, that's kind of what puts us where we are. That's exactly what the Construction Collective is, isn't it?
You know what, Mark, it is. And there's other things that strike me there is for right there. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I can't find the words, but right there, Lego Technic. What do we need to do in this industry? We need to get young people excited about the industry, and you're doing it through Lego Technic. Great collaboration, Mark. I'm really struggling with the words. I do apologize. Great collaboration. I'm super excited about this because we always look at it and go, how are we going to get for the next generation? How are we going to do this? What are we going to do there? And doing it with a Lego Technic approach, and doing it with saying, right now we've done this and we've worked with, you know, the designers there, and they've shown it to young people. Now we can look at it and go, actually, we can make this work. We've got the wherewithal to do this. We've got the sort of L25 frame. We've got the other bits that we need to put in there, the batteries and everything else. But that is just such a great way of thinking outside the box. But obviously, when you've got Lego Technics, it would be inside the box, Mark, wouldn't it?
Yeah, very much so. And there, I mean, Sean's just made a very good point there. It was Tonka back in my day. And I said that on my show today. The way these things traditionally work is that somebody builds a machine like a D11, and then somebody goes away and turns it into a model. Volvo said, no, we're going to do it the other way around. We'll make the toy first, and then we'll build a machine around it. Just unbelievably clever.
It really, really is. And that's why I've got a bit tongue-tied there, Mark, because I've just never seen something like that. I think, you know, the way in which Volvo are literally going bang, 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 another thing, another thing, another thing, another thing. You know, it's just an amount of work that's gone in the situation we've been in the last 18 months or so is incredible, isn't it?
Totally is. Totally is. Right. I promised you at the beginning of the show that we would show you the awesome new safety glasses on offer from Block, and I'm a man of my word. I've actually been using these, as has Peter, actually, for the past few months now, and I have to say I'm loving the interchangeable lenses. I can really see them being of benefit, particularly on demolition sites where sometimes you're looking up at higher reaches and that kind of thing, and obviously you've got changing conditions. So without further ado, let's show you those Block glasses in action.
Here at Block, safety is the first thing that we think about. We were looking at different types of glasses on the market, and we realised that we could produce something better. All three lenses that come with the glasses all have an anti-fog coating on. Anti-fog coating is really important if you're driving any heavy machinery, so you've got clear field of vision. So the lenses within the Block construction glasses have maximum UV protection. Polycarbonate is inherently UV protective. Even if you scratch it, it's not going to allow any harmful UV rays to come through. It's also impact resistant and shock resistant. So they're designed, if they take any impact, they're not going to shatter and go into your eyes. The lens always remains in one piece.
And there is my glamorous assistant modelling the Block glasses.
Mark, I had to get them out of their wonderful case they come in as well. Look at that.
Absolutely.
Superb. The biggest thing I've always had the problem with, Mark, not the safety glasses, but crushing them as you put stuff in your bag or scratching them or whatever else. But these are just absolutely superb. Look at that, you know, beautiful, well made. And you just literally flip this thing up here, pop those out and pop another lens in, which is ultimately great because you do damage to these things if they do fall over and you can scratch or whatever. But, you know, there's lots of lenses out there and you can obviously get more from Block. But, you know, they're really good. And I think I like the design and everything. And the robustness is really important for me with a product like that. But then when you can protect it by putting it back in the box, Mark, that's beauty of it all, isn't it?
Absolutely. So on that basis, don't forget to type the word Block, BLOC, into the chat for your chance to win a pair. It's about time we moved the show along. Ghost of Journalist Pass, I think. I think it's time that we brought the third of the Construction Collective's three amigos into the show. Peter, you and Nick recently went to see a Digbits customer. And I say customer, I use that term advisedly because he's more of a Digbits collector, this guy, isn't he?
Look, what a beautiful guy this is. Dave Stone, Excavation Services. Literally, probably about 20 minutes from the Digbits factory in Rugeley. He's been one of those people that's been involved with the business for a long time. In fact, he's been sort of operating with them at shows in the past. But what he did is actually challenged the team and said, look, I've got a new Takuchi. I want Scandinavian style buckets because I want to use a Kinzhofer tilt rotator. And basically, he's gone and worked with the team to design these bespoke Scandinavian buckets, which are now available for other people to have. But Dave's taken his time to do that. Digbits have taken their time to do that. And what that is again, guess what, Mark? It's that collaboration piece. Why wouldn't you work with customers and end users to put products together that actually work for them in the right sizes for them in their applications and all of the rest of it? And of course, Dave's got everything then for not just the buckets, but also bow crushers and things like that, crusher buckets and other attachments, grabs and stuff from Digbit. So it's a literally whole smorgasbord of attachments, but they're all made in the factory in Rugeley. All of the attachment elements, obviously the crushers elsewhere, but that's really important. Work with your customers, design with your customers, create products that last. And they use a thing called Haddock steel. And that's really, really highly abrasive and therefore abrasive resistant, that is, and therefore lighter as well. And so you can make a bucket, and if it's lighter, you're picking up less of the bucket and you're using all that power to pick up the material. And so therefore you're getting the best out of your machine. Marry it all with a tilt rotator and wallop, you've got the ultimate scenario. And fundamentally, if Dave then needs to start doing other jobs and other work, well, guess what? That needs different size buckets. You can go and get them down the road, and they can even bespoke make them or grab them off the shelf.
Right. Well, while I go away and look up the correct meaning of the word smorgasbord, let's take a look at Nick Drew in action.
Well, hi, it's Nick Drew, and I'm up here today in Staffordshire, and I've come to meet Dave Stone of Dave Stone Excavator Services. Yeah. And yeah, we're impressed. We've been out and had a go with the machine. You've got all these new buckets and attachments from Digbits.
I was making the step to a new machine, yeah, and wanted to go down the route with the knocks, so I was after a decent, good quality set of buckets, yeah, and strong. And sort of to my design, some of them I've altered little bits on some things and got a good relationship with Digbits, so yeah, went with them.
Yeah, ideal.
Done a bit of demoing, and yeah, we normally end up testing some of the other attachments like the crushers, etc. And yeah, just to see, I'm handy because I'm local. Yeah. They can come out, see them work, because the guys in the office don't always get to see that. So.
Exactly, yeah. So we see you've got the Knox tilt rotator. You know, what prompted you to go that way as opposed to some of the others with the rams and stuff like that?
I really like the ramless idea.
Yeah.
Just because I fear with what I do, I could damage them.
Yeah.
And also I've driven them, so yeah, I was like, yeah, quite like them.
Nice.
Was a little worried it won't have the tilt power, but it seems to be.
Yeah, all right.
Similar to the other ones I've driven, but I've not done a massive amount, so
no.
Got to get used to this.
Yeah. Well,
bit of a learning curve.
It's great to see you with your Takuchi TB370, all singing, all dancing. Got all the attachments, so Dave's going to be smashing it out. Ideal.
Just a single thumbs up tonight.
Just a simple, though, normally a double thumbs up, Mark. And so there we go. So just to help you out, Mark, with the smorgasbord thing, according to Wikipedia, it's typically a celebratory meal, and guests can help themselves from a range of dishes laid out for their choice. If you went down to Dave Stone's and you had an excavator and you thought, ooh, what attachment do I need today? You can have a smorgasbord of Digbits attachment in front of you, mate. There you go.
And let's face it, we are laying before our viewers a smorgasbord of our very own this evening.
Indeed we are. Tuck in, everyone.
Right, obviously it's almost Halloween. The nights are drawing in, and we'll soon be scraping ice off our cars in the morning. But before that, Peter Haddock has been on his travels. We'll be heading for Bonnie, Scotland in just a second. But first, Peter, you took a somewhat emotional journey to Malaga in Spain.
Mark, I did. And why people need to understand that it's an emotional journey is In February 2019, I hosted, as the PR for Finning Caterpillar, the dealer in the UK, I hosted my very last of 13 or more, in fact, press events at the Malaga facility, at which point I knew I was leaving my previous agency. And fundamentally, that meant that I thought I would never be back. And so when I got the opportunity, I did a busman's holiday visit with my son, Lucas, 13, who's got something coming out in the next few weeks or so when he took a look around the facility. Been saving that one up. I did sort of get very emotional walking back through that door and being greeted by people that I have worked with for many years that I knew. And, Siggy, who's the operator trainer that you'll see in this video clip, happily spent some quality time with me and my son talking about the brand new M315 wheeled excavator, which has got some glorious additions to it. It is a brand new model, so it's not something that's been upgraded from a specific category. And what a absolute privilege it was for me to be able to get back into doing what I like doing the best in Malaga, seeing new equipment in the sunshine, Mark.
Absolutely. Well, while I'm rolling the film, I'll just tell you that your good lady is actually watching you from Finland. So mind your P's and Q's. I'll roll the film.
Hi, I'm Peter Haddock and welcome here to the Malaga Demonstration and Training Facility with Caterpillar. I'm joined by Siggy, and I'm also joined by not just Siggy, but the M315 brand new wheel loader from Caterpillar. And Siggy, this is a really exciting new piece of equipment, isn't it?
Yes, of course. It's a really exciting piece of equipment. It's a compactorators machine. And there's a new features on, not only from outside, what you see here, but also inside, like hydraulic. Also what let's say the operator can adjust for his job. It's a brand new, let's say, new features on, and it's really good stuff.
So what we've got here is a brand new product that really is going to appeal to many different people. There's other features on here, like there's increased swing, and there's also the hydraulics have been really ramped up on this machine so that we can have something quite special at the end of it, Siggy.
This machine is equipped with the TRS-10, or the tilt rotator. What's the, let's say, the good thing on this one? He's integrated in the machine. What it means is we have two high pressure lines. Normally a normal excavator have a high pressure and a medium pressure, but this one have two high pressure lines. What's allowed me? There's nothing, if I can use all the functions and nothing slowed down. That means special for the tilt rotator, I can rotate, I can tilt the bucket. And that means if with this system, there's nothing, whatever I, let's say, use is nothing slowed down. I can everything have the same speed after. Okay, machine is equipped with, you see, crate control. What means this? We have the crate control, and also maybe I show you. I will go on top. You see here some receivers, and that means also equipped with 3D. It's built now in the machine and it makes a huge difference. It's for me, I'm an operator. Okay, maybe I have to do a level. I can just bench my level. And then I see, of course, that is not with assist today, but it's with a virtual. I see I'm always still on my grade. And that means allowed me, I don't have to check my level. I see everything from my monitor. I can check from my monitor.
This is 21.7 miles an hour. As an operator, what does it feel like in the cab?
The good thing is today, you see the steering column, I can really move it forward. That means he is straight. I can move my seat. That means I have a perfect access to get in and out of the machine. This is the special joystick. Of course, we have a lot of buttons here. And of course, also a truck excavator is keyless. We have now with a code or with a Bluetooth key, or even with your iPhone, you can, let's say, start your machine or put the electric on.
And so really it's got everything that we can imagine put into this machine, and it's got the technologies that people like Cat Grade Control are familiar with the tilt rotator, with all of those functionalities. Siggy, it's time for you to get into the machine, mate.
Of course.
Looks a fantastic machine, and what an absolute joy to be back in Malaga again.
Oh, mate, it certainly was. And I think, you know, all credits to what Caterpillar's done with that facility over the years. I've been for the last sort of 15 years there before I started content with media in July 2019. And I think, you know, it's expanded massively in all that time, and they keep investing and investing so that customers can come and experience the machines for themselves in real world applications. And that's really important, to test out a machine like that in a real world application in a massive facility where you can travel around that, dig where you need to do, and all sorts of things can be set up for people there. And a great showcase for what people can do with Caterpillar equipment, you know. So it's really worth going to their facility if you ever get the chance.
I totally agree. Yeah, I've been there several times and loved it every time. That's not the last of the manufacturers that you've been visiting. We'll get to that in just a second. But don't forget, people, type the word block, BLOC, into the chat for your chance to win a superb pair of safety glasses. And while you're doing that, we're off to the land of haggis, bagpipes, and newly rebranded dump trucks, courtesy of Mr. Haddock.
Hi, I'm Peter Haddock, and I'm here with John Craig Savage. He's head of operations here at the Motherwell facility. This is the right time to have a new product with a Stage 5 engine, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. It's exactly the right time, and I'm sure you've seen the level of buzz in the factory at this moment in time, the level of enthusiasm. You know, we're building this product here in the UK. We're supplying to the UK market. We've got our new brand. It's fantastic, as you say. Absolutely.
And what I wanted to talk to you about, though, in particular, is jobs and investment here in the factory. You know, so one of these is coming off the line every single day at the moment. You know, what has it meant for jobs when the investment has gone into this new brand?
Yeah, so we are heavily recruiting in the local area. We have positions available all throughout the business. You know, the order intake we've got at this moment in time, there is a real jobs boost for this area. So lots of opportunities, lots of development, lots of upskilling of people. It's all good news at this moment in time.
And what's interesting for me, I didn't realise this, is that everything is done here, isn't it? All of the research and the development teams, all of the future of this Rockback brand, all of the people are here. That makes this an engine to build this with its big engine, doesn't it? You know, and it brings all of that together so you can move quickly to release a new brand like this, but also to make changes and upgrades like the Stage 5 engine.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a bit of a niche when it comes to that. You know, we don't have a design house on the other side of the world that we're using. The guys who come here every single day and work within the factory are the ones that are making the design improvements that our customers are seeing. That allows us to make those changes a lot quicker, a lot slicker, introduce them to our products and get them out to our customers. So absolutely. And lots of investments in how we build these units as well. For example, this new Rockback unit, the body of that unit is produced on our new robotic welder, improving the quality and the consistency and also our output, so we can meet that boom that you're talking about. So it's all looking positive at this moment in time.
And I've certainly enjoyed it today, John, because basically I've been around this factory first time ever. Love seeing behind the scenes of what's going on in a UK manufacturer that's been here for a long time. And it's a wonderful moment, folks, to see more jobs coming into this area and to see a brand like Rockback launched with a positivity, strength of Stage 5 engines, carbon emissions as a key focus, and ultimately safety, folks. All delivered partly by people and partly by robots. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
It's good to put a face to a name, actually, because John actually followed me on LinkedIn earlier today, so it's always good to make a connection.
Well, you know what? LinkedIn for me, Mark, is just wonderful, because what I did, I happened to find myself with a day to potentially spare because something got cancelled. And on the Sunday before that visit took place, which was, I think it was on the Tuesday or the Wednesday, I messaged the team on LinkedIn, and they got back to me that by Monday they'd sorted out a whole site visit layout for me. Obviously, I went there, and there's Kenny that's also involved in another interview that I've just got edited by your son, in fact, that is going out in the next week or two. And they welcomed me with open arms. Everyone was so pleased to see me. I'd never been there before, never had a relationship with the brand until we helped to launch it, Mark, when it officially launched before. And so that's what compelled me to actually make as much as I could out of that day, because I felt like the buzz, it was electric in there, you know, and people were all just like really pleased to be doing the work. The camaraderie, the team in there, you know, pumping out these machines all the time. And literally, they were literally being put out there, put on low loaders and out. So, you know, they're going to be out on the sites very, very quickly. In fact, I know Plant Force took the delivery of their first one not just a week or so ago.
It's fantastic to see. We do have plenty more equipment to show you, but we're going to pause for just a second because, Peter, you've been speaking to the very good folks over at the Mates in Mind Mental Health Awareness Charity about a survey they're running.
Yes, yeah, I did, Mark. And I just wanted to, and thank you very much for letting me talk about this, because I wanted to talk about this because fundamentally we have got this issue of mental health in our sector. And, you know, I wanted to read out a little bit from the message you got from the team there. What they're trying to do is a 5-minute survey, and they've teamed up with the Institute of Employment Studies. And this is all about understanding the mental health and well-being of sole traders and those working for small businesses throughout the construction and related trades. But they're asking people and construction workers, and there tends to be a lot of people, you know, like owner operators, but also a lot of people that, you know, have their own self-employed businesses and small limited companies, for example, that work in our sector. And they just really want to do this study, and they really want to understand how people are faring within that space. And that's really important because, Mark, we're encouraging people to get out there. We're encouraging entrepreneurs. We're encouraging more people to join the construction industry. But we've really got to be conscious that, you know, it's not a 9-to-5 industry. It's not somewhere where, you know, you're going to be clocking off necessarily at this set period of time, especially for people in our industry and you know, in particular the rail sector. You've got unsociable hours, and how does these sort of things impact people as well? And with the stresses and strains of life at the moment. So mental health, we mustn't forget it. And Mates in Mind is a really, really focused charity that supports our sector. So, and guess what, Mark? They reached out to me from a message on LinkedIn. And wow, oh wow, it's LinkedIn coming again to the rescue of creating content and sharing news and views. And I know you're putting the link to the survey in the chat. So I'd really appreciate it if anybody could fill that in and go through the survey, but also share it with other people that are in that sort of category group, because we just need the volume of people to get involved if you are going to grab the statistics that are relevant, you know. And I just really appreciated those individuals recognizing that I could share that and hopefully get it out to more people just by a simple message on LinkedIn. It was fascinating to get it today. I immediately went back, said, can I have some more assets? They came back straight away. Brilliant team there, and fair play, hats off to James, one of the social media communicators as part of the team.
Yeah, they do some fantastic work. I've met up with them a couple of times, and they really do some fantastic work. So if you do have time, people do take part in that survey. You can find a link to it over in the chat. Now, it was never part of a plan, but these shows seem to have adopted several key themes: industry training, gender equality, the adoption of technology, and alternative fuels and emissions reduction. We'll get to alternative fuels in just a second. But Peter, you've been hanging out with another mayor, which because you're that kind of guy. And this time the focus was on emissions reduction.
Yes, Mark, you know, good friend of mine now, Andy Street, Mayor of the West Midlands, spent quite a bit of time with him interviewing now, about 6 or 7 interviews. It's also been part of a live launch I did of the City of Wolverhampton College's EV training facility. And I met up with Andy again and Dave Luscombe of the CEA, Construction Equipment Association, with my colleagues and friends at Sunbelt Rentals for the opening of the rail technology training facility. So a rail training facility really is fascinating, because what they've done is they put rail tracks in there at the City of Wolverhampton University and College, City of Wolverhampton College. It's a bit of a mouthful. And what they're actually doing is they're training people on the live sort of rail environment, not live as in electrification, but how to do the job. And there's a company called Romberg Sursa who've developed this machine, which is picking up precast sections for HS2, and they're leaving this machine at the college so that people can train on that, and they're actually putting back into the college by using the facility to train their own people. So again, Mark, this collaboration and bringing things together. I've been involved in the college's launch of their plant operator training facility as well, and they're really good about engaging with the local community, bringing people in and getting them trained. But yes, it all makes a difference, Mark. Every city is going towards zero emissions, and we've seen it in Birmingham. Wolverhampton's a big city, a big player in this region of the West Midlands as well. So it's really important that we get that message out, that we have to lower emissions into these zones and in inner city environments. People need to be able to breathe good air.
So should we take a look?
Yeah, go on.
Is it parallel? Yes,
Perfect.
It is. That's
Perfect.
pretty good, actually. Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, they are.
Hi, I'm Peter Haddock, and we're here with Dave Luscombe. Dave, we've just seen Andy Street put this emission sticker, Stage 3B sticker, on this Sunbelt Rentals machine here. We talked to Andy about emission standards and the fact that, yes, we can't have all machines electric, we can't have all machines stage 5, because we're getting stage 5 in it now, but we can have an ability, particularly for inner cities and the West Midlands, to identify machines in the right way and know that identification is correct, isn't it?
That's absolutely right, and it demonstrates that whilst we all want to aspire to be stage 5, we have to be inclusive. We have to make sure that smaller contractors, people with older fleets, can still be part of the mix. That's very, very important. Any initiative that forces people out is never going to be popular, never work. And I made the point to Andy that we have Millennium Point in the middle of Birmingham, smack in the middle of their nice new clean air zone, that's doing so much to improve the air quality for residents in Birmingham, but we've no way of knowing the emissions levels coming from those construction machines. And this is the perfect solution, and I was delighted that Andy got that.
Yeah, and Sunbelt have been very kind to us today and brought this machine so that we could retrofit this sticker on it. Behind us is an electric machine and things like that, and they're doing a lot with the college here at the City of Wolverhampton College, and it's just launched its new rail training centre today, and that's really important, isn't it, that we combine all these things and equipment into one place, that people are trained properly.
Absolutely. In the presentations today, Sunbelt made a big statement to say that it's about partnership working, it's about investment, and it's about demonstrating what the future of construction could look like. So there'd be that hydrogen, be it emissions from it or lack of emissions from electric, and an NRM with ECV labels on it. And it's good to see a company like Sunbelt putting their money where their mouth is and investing in this technology, investing in this college today to make sure that we are all part of that future, and we're all helping to shape the future of construction in the UK.
And it's a great future for construction when you've got colleges and facilities like this. It's also great to see, and we must really praise them, JCB, for continuing to fit CESA as standard and for embracing the emission standards as well. And Sunbelt have done a record-breaking deal with JCB, folks. So you're seeing the Sunbelt equipment that's rolling out into their fleet. 90% of their new deal for over 2,000 machines is stage 5 or electric machines, and that shows where the future is, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes. The future is a cleaner future, it's a greener future, and you've got to be part of it.
Thanks very much, Dave. Great to see you here
Thank you.
at this really important launch for the City of Wolverhampton College and their brand new Rail Technology Centre.
The future's bright, the future's green. It's a great film, that, and lots of people involved there. Obviously, the college themselves, Sunbelt, JCB, a really fantastic initiative. And I'm starting to bore myself now, but it's another collaboration, isn't it?
It is, but you know what was really good about that is a lot of people were there on the day. So a lot of senior people as well were there. And why is that important? Because if you're going to drive forward change, you need leadership with that change, and you need the leaders to get on board and to put this big chunk of 64 million pounds that they did with the JCB deal with Sunbelt. But also, I found out on the day that talking to their chief financial officer, there's another interview on my YouTube channel, Content with Media, on that. They've got £1 billion, £1 billion to spend on equipment, Sunbelt Rentals. And all of that is focused on getting towards net zero. And it's no shock that the team from Sunbelt Rentals are going all out to support the COP26, the COP26 climate summit that's happening on Sunday. But yeah, fascinating. But you need leadership to do this. Leaders make those decisions, then the companies can move forward. Then we can bring everybody in, train them at the City of Wolverhampton College, got it right this time, train them right, and therefore create the jobs and the careers, Mark, for the future. We're not talking jobs here, we're talking careers, and that's really, really important.
It's interesting. You should. Oh, my apologies. My mother-in-law's just popped around. It's interesting you mentioned COP26, because since you and I last convened, things have moved on a hell of a lot in the field of alternative fuels. Obviously, we've seen JCB showing off a couple of hydrogen-fueled prototypes ahead of the COP26 climate conference, which, as you rightly say, opens on Sunday. And Volvo has unveiled some new electric-powered equipment as well. But before either electric or hydrogen becomes the industry go-to fuel, an increasing number of plant owners and operators are looking to HVO fuel as an immediate alternative to the red diesel that will lose its tax exemption in April next year. One of the first demolition companies to be embracing HVO is Rye Group. That company has recently purchased a couple of Caterpillar excavators, all of which are running on HVO fuel. Let's take a look. We do find ourselves on the cusp of some big changes, don't we?
We do. And guess what, Mark? That HVO fuel they were using, it must have had some huge calorific value, because those machines were working very, very quickly indeed, Mark.
I'm sure there may have been one or two special effects in there, actually.
Oh, right. Okay. But no, in all seriousness, you know, HVO is becoming the go-to thing now. It's not without its own sort of issues with HVO, because there are different sort of grades. You've got to make sure you get the right grade, and you've got things like diesel bug that I know we've talked about before with our friends at Fuel Active. They've got a system that allows you to suck the fuel not actually from the bottom of the tank, so you're not sucking up any gunk there. So it's not without some of the issues there. But Mark, you know, they far outweigh the benefits. You know, the benefits really are far outweighing the whole element of changing over. Of course, you know, there's all sorts of things that I've talked about in podcasts. I've actually done a podcast with William Tebbit of the Green Diesel Solutions, and they basically have looked after the development of their own HVO Green Diesel Plus, and they're actually working with people like Skanska, who are mandating the use of HVO on their sites. So, you know, HVO is going to be a very, very important fuel moving forward, and it's really important that people understand that. But also, it's really important that if you're going to make a change to a new fuel, that you do simple things like drain the tank out. And you do simple things if you're hiring machines to make sure that people say and know that this is an HVO used machine, or you have to drain the tank out of the HVO and, you know, put red or white in the future diesel in it. So, you know, there's things that the industry needs to learn. And also, you know, as we move towards the sort of HVO usage and its general usage, we've also got to make sure that we have the supply levels of those fuels coming out. So the industry needs to tell the manufacturers of the fuels and the supply chain of the fuels that actually we want this and we want this now, and here's what it looks like and here's what we're going to do, so that we can have that supply chain working effectively and getting the fuel to site, which is, you know, really important.
I don't want to stray too far from our running order, but that's an interesting point, that educational thing, because we are facing a switch. And I think that's going to be particularly important in the field of electric machines, because the electric machines, you know, you may not get an entire day out of them, you know, so do you charge at break times? Do you have switch out batteries? And you know, it's going to change the very nature of the way that we work in the industry. And as you say, it is going to be an education process.
And guess what, Mark? In a couple of weeks' time, I'm going to see somebody that's got a JCB electric that has been working with it for about 6 months or so now, because I want to ask those questions to that individual, you know. And you understand with electric, whereas, you know, with other fuels, when you've got the engine on, you're using fuel. With an electric vehicle, electric plant, or driving electric vehicle, if you're stationary, you're not using the battery. You know, you're not idling, you're not chucking out all of that emissions. And, you know, still now in this industry, we're seeing reports of 30% idle times. You know, and I talked to a company called Machine Max recently at a national highways event, which was net zero, and they're going net zero to 2050. I spoke to them, and they're collecting all this data, and you know, they're helping people to go, well, how do we tackle that, and how do we tackle change? So we're doing that within that space, and the same applies with how you treat machines, how you charge things up. But everybody has a brake, so if you're going to go onto a brake, you know, you need the infrastructure, of course you do, to charge it up, but just plug it in, you know, and have a brake. And it's really important that people do have a brake, because that's when safety issues come in on site, when people are tired. And, you know, it's really more important to have a brake for safety reasons. But if you're doing that, plug the machine in.
Yeah, and certainly when you look at some of the things that Volvo have been doing, you know, that Volvo are accompanying their electric machines with a dedicated app. So that app will keep you fully posted on you know, how much charge you've got left, when you need to refuel in the not the strictest sense. So, you know, the technology is moving forward the fueling, but it's also moving forward the ability to manage and monitor as well.
Yeah, and that app's called Emma. I can't remember the actual elements to it, but I also want to take this opportunity, Mark, and I've rushed it out today just before the show. I want to take this opportunity to tell people that content with media, if you type in content with media on your podcast channel, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you go to our YouTube channel or my LinkedIn page, Peter Haddock, I've just put out earlier today a COP26 special podcast edition with James Cadman from the Sustainability Supply Chain School. And basically, he talks about all of the challenges that we've got and how there's no one answer for those challenges. But actually, you know, when you've got the Construction Leadership Council turning around to the industry and saying, in our latest framework, we're going to say that we need to reduce the use of diesel-powered equipment by 70% by 2035, that means that we've got to make a lot of change very quickly. But what I'm really confident about is all of the technologies there, all the willpower's there. We just need to make sure we've got the infrastructure. We just need to make sure we've got that investment. The government is opening up to investment now. The government's trying to attract people into the UK market to invest in our infrastructure, but also, you know, to invest in all of the developments that we're doing here in the UK. And we, you know, we're in a really good place as a country to take advantage of the fact that we're surrounded by water, and we can, you know, chuck out wind turbines. Obviously, there's talking about nuclear and micro-nuclear, because all of the things that happen here, if we're going to keep these machines charged up, if we're going to make hydrogen from a green hydrogen sense, we need the power to do that. So, you know, we're motoring down this route, but everything has to work and everything has to go together. But it's up to all of us to make our own individual choices, as everybody's saying. But, you know, the industry has got some really clever people out there. I'm super impressed with what JCB is doing with hydrogen. I'm really impressed about the pace of change that we're seeing in people like Volvo. And Mark, I've done a podcast recently with Caterpillar having the first all-electric mine in Canada. Nouveau Monde Graphite is the company. They're going to have all-electric mine in about 6 or 7 years' time or something, completely electric. And it's hydropower powering it. And no doubt in the future of that mine that's mining graphite for batteries, by the way, circular economy, is basically going to turn that power into hydrogen probably in the future. But, you know, these partnerships are going on all around the world, and we're getting to know about them now, but they have been going on for years, you know, but they're now being sort of talked about and revealed, which is great to see.
One of the things I found interesting, which leads us into our next film, actually, we've traditionally focused here on the fact that manufacturers of equipment are focused on reducing the environmental impact for their customers. But recently, Volvo has unveiled details of how it's reducing its own environmental impact at the point of manufacture by unveiling, get this, the world's first machine made from fossil-free fuel.
I'm extremely proud to be here today, presenting to you the world's first vehicle made by fossil-free steel. For me, Martin, this is a proof of that we can make progress. We can make quick progress in partnership, and with strong partners, brave partners, and bold partners like you.
And we work quick together. Imagine, I mean, we delivered this steel to you guys in August, and today we stand in front of the first vehicle produced, and it's ready to be driven and started. So it's the speed has been impressive.
It's fantastic. And when it comes to acting, I think it's so important to act, not because someone else tells us to act. We act because we want, we act because we can, and we act because we must. Because I think this is so important for our generation, but even more important for all the coming generations. And all the decisions we take, all the actions we take now will influence the future heavily. I think this is an amazing product. It's 8.2 ton. It's more than 3 ton of fossil-free steel. It's fully electric and it's fully autonomous. You talked about the speed, and the feedback I got from my team is also when it comes to the quality, the product properties, they are exactly the same as in conventional steel, so to say. And when we did our welding, when we did our cutting, we used exactly the same product processes, which is important then when we should start to scale. I must also say to our teams, both the SSAB team and the Volvo team, what a great efforts, and thanks a lot to all of you. When I saw this machine first time 2 weeks ago, then I felt this is for real now. This is happening. We can do it. And at that moment, I must tell you, that was for me very, very touching, actually.
Now, this is clearly an historic moment, and I understand your feelings, and I have the same feelings. And I think from SSAB side, we are extremely proud to be part of this partnership, and we are very much looking forward to future cooperation and things we can continue to do together.
Brilliant.
I'm at the point now where I could actually dedicate an entire channel just to what Volvo is innovating.
Hey, but Mark, you've got to realise that is one of the ants. That's one of the Volvo equivalent of ants. They've turned around and said, well, what we've got here is an ability to change the way in which we do quarrying and mining. So instead of having great big mining trucks that are going up and down and they're waiting around and they're taking these different loads, if you had the ants, which is what that machine is, all going round, all electric, and taking 1 or 2 loads or whatever it is from the loading shovel, then going around and charging up themselves when they get a bit tired, and basically coming back around again, and then you have that free flow, then fundamentally you've got something which would be way more efficient. And obviously, if you look at the cost implications of it, you're saying we have to build a massive, massive mining truck, or you build a load of these. And I don't know how the figures would stack up myself, but you can see how that works, and you can see how that could be fully autonomous. And if you do have one of your great big trucks that go down, well, in that scenario, you do have one of the ants go down as such, then it doesn't matter because you've got a fleet of them that can take up the slack. So really interesting concept. And it's going to be these sort of fundamental changes that we've seen, the Lego Technics approach, we've seen this approach to fossil-free steel, we've seen this approach to fully autonomous electric things that are different. And when we do see that, we can see how we can change this industry and make it a safer place, a more productive place, but also something where we can excite people. Because is it right that we're still doing the same things with the same types of things that just getting iterations? No. You know, in the modern day world where we've got 3D modeling, we've got all this sort of clever stuff, it should be able to do things better.
No, you're dead right. And just think, I mean, in the next couple of years, we could see that Lego Technic machine, the LX03, and several of those ants actually doing the job.
Yeah,
you know, it is that close now. It really is.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally agree.
We are getting very close to the end of the show. We've already exceeded the hour, as we always do. The time is fast running out for you to win a pair of Block ballistic tested safety glasses. So be sure to type the word Block. Peter's modelling them now. Be sure to put the word Block, B-L-O-C, into the chat right now. That's incredibly distracting. We're going to change our focus while you're doing that to all things demolition. Next up, we're going to take a look at the very latest attachment from our buddies over in Italy at Italmec. Apparently, there's an open house at Peter's while the cat's away.
Yeah, but Peter's got the wrong Peter, so because he's Peter, I'll just chuck him over to his house because it's the same. Really, he didn't really say it's Peter H, did he? So there we go.
Okay, people, there is just one more film to come. That means you've got precisely 3 minutes to type the word block, BLOC, into the chat before we do our prize draw. So, are you ready? Here's our final film. It's quite a beast, isn't it?
Wow. And when you look at it, you can't really understand how big it is. And then you see that clip of the cat and you go, whoa, that is just super big.
Yeah, absolutely. 60-meter reach, an absolute monster.
Wow. No, great way to finish, mate. Great way to finish.
Not quite finished. One final thing. We have to find out who has won the block safety glasses. So let's get the randomizer ready. He's modeling them again. Let's get them on. Are you ready? Let's roll.
Roll the dice.
Peter Ferguson.
There's a party at Peter's house tonight.
Congratulations, Peter. That is fantastic news. Couldn't have gone to a nicer guy.
Well done, Peter. They are awesome. You'll love them. That's brilliant. Fantastic.
Now, just to be clear, if you weren't lucky enough to win a pair this evening, or if you were watching on LinkedIn because we were having some connection issues there, if you take a look in the chat right about now, you will see that Block have very kindly offered a chance to win one of 5 additional pairs of their terrific safety glasses. Just click on the link in the chat or in the description to the show, and you will get a chance to win as well. There you are, Mr. Muirhead. Many thanks indeed for that, Gary. Congratulations, Peter. Yeah, absolutely superbly done.
Brilliant.
Peter, that is pretty much a wrap on the proper part of the show. But one thing I do need to draw people's attention to, you have been a veritable content machine of late. Where do people find all of your stuff? And man alive, that's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of things. Well, first thing to do, Mark, is connect with me on LinkedIn, because not only do I put all of my stuff up there on LinkedIn, I also share a lot of industry news and in the moment stuff on LinkedIn as well. So connect with me, Peter Haddock, on LinkedIn. You see this lovely face. It looks a lot younger in the picture that I've chosen. So that's the first stop. Second stop, Content with Media on YouTube. Subscribe to that channel, because all of my stuff goes up there. I was using it as an archive, but now more stuff's going up there as well. Obviously, Content with Media on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, and other podcast channels as well. You can follow Content with Media and myself on Twitter, and Content W Media on Instagram. And yes, obviously on Facebook as Content with Media as well. So please just get in touch, get involved. And really what we want to do is make sure that we share as much of this content with the industry. And, you know, I spend a lot of my time putting things and sharing things up there from various different people as well. And, you know, so it's really important that we all support the messages and try and get some good news, some positivity out there, because that's what it's all about. Fed up of listening to negative ninnies out there. I'm all about positivity. We'll get some good stuff out there. We educate people, and let's help us all move on in our careers, but also help the industry move on to, you know, support that climate change goal of reducing emissions and getting things built back better, Mark.
I think Peter may have just admitted the fact that he's using as his profile photograph on LinkedIn the same profile photo he's got it on Tinder, actually. But we'll gloss over all that. We'll gloss over all of that. The third member of the team, Nick Drew, go and follow him over on, particularly on Instagram.
Yeah,
where he is a Digger Man blog. Well worth following him. Loads and loads of content. What is he, about 300 blog posts a year or something ridiculous like that?
Absolutely crazy. Yeah, he does about 300 blog posts, and then he's posting videos and pictures and everything else. So he's just constantly active, and you know, it's really good to see, because he's actually at the coalface as such, talking to the operators, going onto sites. So he spends his life traveling up and down the country to get all these stories out that he can share with people, you know, and, you know, not just people in the UK, but he's got a following cohort from all around the world. And, you know, and he spends an enormous amount of time keeping and communicating the messages out there, and with his growing audience, as with yours, Mark.
Does he have a regular viewer from Luxembourg, though? That's the question. Some of us do. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always, Peter. We will be reconvening again before Christmas, because the pace of the equipment changes shows no signs of stopping. Plenty more to come, I would say. Thank you very much indeed for that, Jason. Thank you very much indeed for taking part and viewing. Mate of yours, Peter.
Indeed, yes. Lovely cat machine. Dozer, nice dozer he's got. First one in the UK that I did in March before we went to ConExpo. I visited Jason on site. So, yeah, that's quite a while ago now. It's probably traded in for another model.
You know, it's so interesting. I mean, we've been talking about partnerships and collaborations and everything else, but you know, when you think about the audience that we've got, and I've bored people with this before, but I'm going to say it very, very quickly. I've spent 30 odd years as a print journalist, sending out magazines and then getting a stony silence in reply. You look at the audience that we've had tonight, people like Jason and Peter and Sean and Gary and Ken. You know, these are people, and Al as well, over from Luxembourg as well. You know, these aren't just people that are random individuals that we've never met. These are people that are here day in, day out. They're taking part. They're actually part of the collective, aren't they?
Well, the Construction Collective group that we're growing here, Mark, is a group of people that want to get involved, that want to ask questions, that want to be part of what we're doing. And I think by being part of what we're doing, you're helping us, because you've got the skill sets that we haven't, that are out in the field. And we need to know your insights. And so We need to understand what is right, what is wrong with things. And we need people to be able to ask questions of our guests so that we can get that information out to them and others. And guess what? The feedback we get from guests when they come on a show is like, brilliant. Nobody's ever talked to us like that. So nobody's ever asked that question. Why didn't we think of that? And that's helped them. They're go and make products better or change things, like simple things that people have talked to me about in the past, like, why have they put the cup holder a mile away? So every time I try and pick up a cup, I spill all my coffee all over the place. Simple things that make people's lives brilliant, but also other things that go, well, why don't you come and talk to people in the industry that can say, well, this is the kind of thing we want. And remember, people and the industry, all different shapes, sizes, backgrounds, and also all these different people that have got different experiences all coming together, which is brilliant.
No, dead right, dead right. Right, I think it's time to call it a day. It's been an absolute pleasure. Oh, hang on, we've still got people chatting away. We could be here all bloody night at this rate. Anybody want any GPS help? GPS machine control operators page. Always plenty of knowledge. And that, I think, is a great example of the way the industry is supposed to be. I mean, certainly in my part of the industry, I tend to focus on demolition. There is a forum now for reporting accidents.
Right.
But reporting accidents as a learning opportunity. Here's something that went wrong with me. You need to be aware of. And what Jason's doing there, different subject, obviously, but a fantastic opportunity. And I mean, I for my part, I spend most of my evenings looking at YouTube videos on how to do live streams and how to make my YouTube stuff better. I don't go through magazines, I don't go through books, I go through video now and on websites, and that's exactly what these guys are doing, isn't it?
I think the thing to note about Jason is really important, Mark. He's one of the really early adopters of machine control, and he's really invested in that. He's an owner-operator, and dozers aren't cheap, I can tell you that for nothing. But he's got the right kit, and he's now working with Trimble Earthworks system, so he upgrades all the time. And I know for a fact, because I met one of the young men that he was mentored on site with some time ago now, and fundamentally, Jason is one of those people that wants to give back. And he understands that it can be daunting to go into machine control. He's been there, he's done that. He's got the T-shirt and the hat and the gloves and everything else. And, he does know what he's talking about. And so anybody that does want to ask those questions or does want some advice, joining a group like that where they can talk to somebody that's had all of that knowledge that he's willing to give away for free, like we're giving away all of this to our audience for free, is outstanding.
Absolutely. And I've mentioned it before, and I'm going to mention it again because he's still around. we do have a new breed, I think, of these people. And we hear the word influencer a lot, but, I would consider somebody like a Jason to be an influencer because he is giving his knowledge. And the example I would use is Nick Drew. Nick Drew, obviously, is a former digger driver, a very good one at that. Became a blogger, now a proper journalist, regardless of what anyone else says. He's a proper journalist. Now, he could ring fence his audience. He could say, this is mine, I'm going to keep it all to myself. But he doesn't. What was it, a week ago? He featured James Herring at Life Behind the Levers on his blog. James is an up-and-coming guy, but Nick has sort of reached behind him and said, "Come on, mate, come along with me. I'll drag you along in my wake, as it were." What a fantastic initiative!
Yeah, I just think it's all about, everybody is different. Everybody's having different experiences, and for somebody like Nick, he's just one of those people that just loves what he's doing, and he wants people to be a part of it. He's not one of those people that goes, "Oh, look at me, look at me." In fact, the work we've done to get him on video presenting has been numerous years when I was in my previous role to help him come onto screen. And now he's got the is better. And therefore,
yeah, absolutely.
He's able to share all of that with everybody. And like he did today with the Dig Bits piece, not only was he operating, I was actually filming him operating at the time. Then you hit go and off he goes, talking to an operator. And I've got to say, Dave Stone said, wow, he was good on the tilt rotator, wasn't he? And it's like, because he's worked with the likes of Encon and other players in the market for years as an early adopter. So again, it's that handing over that experience. And guess what, Mark, you could be around all day waiting for him to be filmed, because he would just dig all day because he loves it.
But that's what makes his opinion and his content as valuable as it is. It's not just some random guy who's landed a job writing about diggers. It's a guy that lives and breathes the damn things.
Absolutely, and that's why the collective works, Mark. Absolutely.
Absolutely right. Right, we are at 1 hour and 20 minutes. I'm sure if anybody was hearing a rumbling in the background, that's not thunder. That's actually my stomach, because I haven't had my dinner yet. So Peter's going to model the glasses one last time. You can still see the link in the chat to go and win yourself a pair of those over with the good people of Block. My thank you to them for sponsoring the show. Obviously, my thank you to Nick Drew, to everybody that's taken part in the chat. And as always, my thank you to Peter Haddock for keeping us on the straight and narrow.
Oh, well, thanks for everybody for listening to me garble my words at the start of the show. It's been one of those tongue-twisting Halloween spooky nights, Mark, and a great pleasure to be back. Wonderful to see the growing audience that we've got participating and really talking to each other in the chat, which is fabulous.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. People, it's been an absolute pleasure. Have a great evening, and I'll see you again tomorrow, but I'll be seeing Peter probably about this time next month for another round of the Construction Collective, this time without the pumpkins and the ghosts. Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye, everyone. Ta-ra.